welcome. Great. Okay. This is a story of how you found out that you were special. You were in an abandoned house. You heard it was dangerous, but you also heard that this house had treasure in it. And when you go in, there's trash all over the place and a weird smell. In the library, a lot of the bookshelves have been pulled down, making a real mess on the floor. There's a long dead body lying on the floor underneath those books. It's mummified. It's got a red silk lounging robe, and its skull is smashed in. There's movement in the corner that startles you, but you realize that's just a rabbit, a mother rabbit and some kits, having made a nest there. So you start looking under these piles of books, and you find a locked treasure chest. Oh yeah, that's what you came here for. It's got a rusty lock, which is good, because you're not really sure about how to open locks yet. So you smash that thing, you open up the chest, and inside is a big dead rat. Oh, that might be where part of that smell is coming from. But next to the rat are 3 little stoppered bottles, glass bottles, and these things look like new. They're completely clean despite being amongst all the hair and shit and dirt of hundreds of years. Also, behind that there's a gleam. You see a jeweled dagger. Also very clean looking. As you lean a little bit closer, the rat twitches and jumps out of the chest. Its eyes are 2 tiny little red pinpricks, and it opens its jaws, which are all rotten inside. It goes, oh, the smell washing over you. Your heart starts racing. As it jumps out, it looks over at where that rabbit and those little kits are, and it starts lumbering over towards them, opening its jaws. Now, only you know what happened next in that house. What did you do first? Did you grab one of those bottles? Did you grab the dagger? Did you shield the rabbits? Did you attack that rat? Or did you try to command the rat? So there's 3 major elements in Dungeons and Dragons. And the first one is the world. All right. Thank you, Alex. So, listen to this world that you're in to start us off. Now, I made this world, but some of it is borrowed and some of it is new. You're in a carriage headed to Timberway Valley. Timberway Valley is a wild frontier over some mountains. And there's farms among this ancient ruin. Don't have a picture of the carriage. That's okay, go on back, Alex. Sorry about that. I had a picture of the carriage that Mel supplied. I know, sorry. So there's farms out there, and they're amongst these ancient ruins. They used to be very populated, part of an empire a long time ago. You need to get over a cold, dangerous mountain pass in order to get to Timberway Valley, which means that you need a carriage, you need horses, you need a driver, and you need guards. It's a little bit dangerous on this trip, even just getting there. And this takes pretty much all the money that you have. But you're committed to doing that, and you will get to tell the story of why did you get on that carriage. So, the carriage starts at a city called Neverwinter. The Neverwinter is really big with a wall, but there's a big split down the middle, like half of it is sunken down where it's all kind of ruined and swampy. And the upper part that hasn't sunk is where all the rich people live, and they've got all the shops. But the poor is where the lower part is where a lot of people are living there too. They're poor, they're desperate, but they've got a lot of flexibility. The guards don't come down there too often. So maybe you came from the city of Neverwinter, and that's where you're getting on this carriage, maybe. Maybe you want to start your own farm, because there's cheap land out in Timberway Valley. Maybe you fought some wolves and rats and stuff, and you feel like you're ready for something stronger. Maybe you got a taste for bigger combat. Maybe you just got a terrible family that you're trying to get away from. Get out of there. Make a new start. So the carriage rolls north. It skirts around Lake Nen, which is surrounded by a forest. farmlands. So you get onto farmlands, and the farmlands are where you have been working there. You have defended maybe some raiding goblins. Maybe you've been exploring some of the ruins around here. And you feel like getting further away from the city. You feel like you're not really living your full life that way. Maybe you feel like there's time to get some treasure. You've seen some adventurers retire in these farmlands with some wonderful things on their walls. Maybe you want to get some of that. So you keep going north after the farmlands, way beyond Neverwinter now, and you are at Lake Nen. Lake Nen is surrounded by forest, and it's really very natural feeling. You have no sign of civilization. Even the places here are integrated with nature. There's elves living in tree houses around this lake. There's halflings living in little nice hobbit holes, halfling holes, set on the side of hills. And there's humans, there's dwarves, just like anybody else, but they're trying to live very much more in harmony with nature. So maybe you got on the carriage not in Neverwinter, not at the farmlands, but maybe you got on the carriage here. And when you got on the carriage here, maybe you had some adventures on that lake, but you hear there's something much bigger than a lake out to the east. It's called the sea. It's like a lake that's so big you can't even see the other side. Maybe that's what's drawing you towards Timberway Valley. Maybe you know that your people came from much wilder lands. Maybe you feel like even this is not authentic enough for you. You want to go to the real wilds over that mountain pass. Maybe you'll thrive there. Maybe you had a religious experience, out here eating the mushrooms and smoking the grasses of Lake Nen, and God talked to you. Gods or goddesses are talking to you, and you're deciding to head east. Maybe that's the reason you got on this carriage. This carriage goes up a mountain road, through the foothills, and starts getting higher up. It starts doing switchbacks, and you're gaining elevation quite quickly. It heads east over a bridge, and that bridge is this stunning waterfall that heads the Nentir River. Oh, that Nentir River makes sense. That goes down into Lake Nen and past Neverwinter. Okay. You're now high up, and you can see that river flowing off south towards Lake Nen and beyond. You can see the sort of smudgy, sort of dirty-looking mass on the horizon that you know must be Neverwinter, and you're breathing this clean mountain air. You passengers, you spend the night here because it's taken all day to get here, and you are at a place called Falling Water. Falling Water up here in the mountains, right next to that waterfall. It's the ideal spot to get some money off of travelers who need to rest up before plunging further east. So, maybe this is where you got on the carriage. There's lots of dwarves here taking a break from mining in the mountains. Of course, any kind of creature can be living near here because you might have, survival towns and trappers and real explorers up here. But, speaking of dwarves again, in that inn, there is a muscular dwarf in a red fur cloak, and he is leading a battle song with a huge battle axe raised over his head, and the whole inn is singing along. But you do need to get some sleep, so it's your decision how drunk you get tonight, but tomorrow morning you've got to get out early and in the morning. So we're using imagination, and imagination is part of the magic of Dungeons & Dragons. You try to see this in your mind. Some people are not so good at it. Some people get better at it over time. But trying to see this in your mind is part of the magic. And you get to make up part of the story as we go. So here's one of the first things I want you individually to make up. Where did you get on that carriage? Which of those 4 places did I describe? You decide your own backstory, and it can be very sketchy. All you need to decide is kind of basically where you got on. You don't need a whole page of backstory, just the basics. So decide, put your hand up if you think you got on at the big city of Neverwinter. Raise your hand high and look around right now with the raised hand. See who else is raising their hand, because they might eventually be around a table with you at D&D, and you might have a connection with them, right? Maybe you've got some sort of a relationship. Maybe you got on the carriage together for a reason. Those people came on at Neverwinter. Now, you could be friends. You could be relatives. One of you could be the boss of the other. One of you could be the student of the other. All right. So next, who thinks they got on to those farms north of Neverwinter, the farmland? Raise your hand if you came from a farm. Raise your hand high and look around. Look around who else has their hand up. Look for other people from farms. Again, make up your backstory and make up the part of you that might relate you to each other. Who got on near that big Lake Nen? Raise your hand if you went on the wooded Lake Nen. Okay, a lot. Look around. Everybody else with their hand up. These are very small places. There's a very good chance you have a family bond there or some sort of relationship. And lastly, Who got on at Falling Water Inn up in those mountains? Raise your hand high. Falling Water, yeah, look around. Look around. Who else got on Falling Water? Yeah, maybe you're one of those outlaws. Maybe you've been in the mines. Maybe that's how you got to know each other. The other people have raised your hands. All right. So you've all come from different places. You now are unified in this carriage on a dangerous journey. You take off from Falling Water Inn, and it's already bitter cold at this height in the morning. Your driver is Vistra. Vistra, they are dressed flamboyantly in a purple gown. They have vivid makeup. They have high hair. And they love to spout verse that they apparently are making up on the spot. I'll leave it to you whether this is good verse that you've ever heard or maybe the worst verse you've ever heard. But Vistra, they are always spouting it off as they travel. On the carriage are 2 guards. The guards have spears and bows. And these guards are cousins, and they are elves, and they are middle-aged elves, right? And middle-aged elves means they're like only 150 years old, right? But they've got about that sort of somewhat aged, grizzled look, but they're still quite vital. So, one of them is stocky, got a strong jaw and some stubble, and wearing heavy green gloves. The other one is quite thin and bright-eyed, with shiny lips, with long hair and a braid. They look ahead to that road warily as you're rolling along on this carriage, and you remember how dangerous this journey is supposed to get from this point on especially. So, we're going to get to the second element of D&D, which is choice. So, this is about you and what you choose, which dungeon masters can't control, and that's what's so fun about it. I make the world, but you make choices in that world, and that affects things, right? So, the world will then change based on your choices. You have effects. And the world then gives you more choices, and as you move around, you discover more choices. So these two things play off each other. The world and choices bounce off of each other in the system. So, we're going to come up on a choice. Climbing up this hill, imagine this is the cold, early, dark morning, and to the left, uphill, there's some caves set in the side of the mountains, and the bright-eyed guard peers there, and she says quickly, "Put out the lanterns." Vistra says, "Ah, yes, the morning lord has us well in his arms. Save the oil to slip from the grip of night." The stocky guard, he growls and says, "We may lose more than oil. Sturges are coming this way." Sturges. Yes. Sturges are about this big, and they're like bats crossed with mosquitoes. They're attracted by light and heat on this cold morning, and they're swarming out from the cave at a distance. The guards all shout to close the windows. But maybe you're a little bit slow, maybe this carriage is not in the best of shape. Well, it's not in the best of shape. Some of the windows are stuck, they don't close properly. Some of them fall out as soon as you adjust them. So, these sturges fly in through a few of these open windows and start to attack you in the carriage. They grab onto some of you with those claws, and they stick that long beak into your neck to start sucking your blood. So, we are going to figure out what's happening to whom with a 4-step process that finally involves those ropes. I'm sorry to disappoint you. If you thought you're going to get tied up to these ropes, no, you're just going to be holding them for a few minutes. And you don't get to take them home. Get your own rope. So everyone with a rope. So if you have a rope, hold the end of the rope in each hand like in step 1. So you're covering up the colors of the 2 ends of the rope. Now, look around for a partner right next to you who has no rope. And it's okay for friends to start getting together here. If you're with a friend, go with that. Everybody must find a partner with the rope. When you find a partner, do steps 2 and 3. The person without a rope points to one of the hands and takes the end of the rope that they pointed to. So, you'll all end up like step 4. One of you is holding one end of the rope and the other one is holding the other, and everybody has to be in a rope. So we've got some solo people here. That's fine. You can get up and move. Or volunteers, hope you find somebody. You've got 2 people right there. That's good. You 2 get together. You've got 2 people right there. Could you? Yeah. Could you maybe step down there? And if you need a rope, that's fine. If you've got, that's fine. You get an extra rope. Everybody, hold it up so our volunteers can see. If you are ropeless, you're going to get picked out. You'll eventually want to sit down. You can change seats, of course. Just take your character sheets and die with you. Great. Volunteers, give us thumbs up. Yeah, there should be only one odd person out, in which case a volunteer will play with you. But no, so see, we have, yeah, that's good, you too. Good. Okay, so we have one volunteer helping an odd person out, that's great. But aside from that, everybody is roped up. Oh, wait, we've got that. Yes, you two have got a rope, okay. Good, very good. Thank you for that. All right. Okay. So, if you're holding the red end, if it's got some red tape on the end, that's your red end, all right? If you're holding the red end, like this person on the left of the slide, a scourge is stuck into your neck and is starting to suck your blood. If you're holding the silver end of the rope, like this person on the right hand is, you're in the carriage, you're next to the one with the scourge in their neck, and you get the opportunity to help if you want. Do you help them is the question. This is the choice. Now, there's no scourge in your neck. Try not to discuss it. It's all happening in a moment. So, you with the silver end, there's no scourge in your neck. It's not your problem. You barely know each other. Now, to help out, you're going to have to grab that dangerous thing on their back, pull it off of them, and it's got claws. It could hurt you. It could hurt you in the course of helping out your partner, maybe friend, maybe not, instead. So you're taking a risk to help them out. But if you don't help, that person can get quite badly hurt and lose a lot of blood. So what do? Don't discuss it. You're just going to decide with the silver end what you're going to do. Now, before I do this, remember, there's a difference between you as a person, as a player, and as a character. There's a separation between the two. It's okay to play a character that at this point in the story is selfish, and says, I'm not going to take a risk. Maybe the character's ideal like you. Maybe I want to be the kind of person who'd be brave, so of course you'd want to help. You can be an idealized version of yourself in D&D, or it could be a bit of an alter ego and explore that side of yourself. Either one can be fun. And if we have a vow, it's like a magic circle. You don't take it personally. If their character acts a certain way, you can still be friends as players, even if your characters are having a bit of discussion in the world. So make a choice that excites you. Now, you could be good, be bad. This is how we explore. Now, I'm going to ask you all right now to close your eyes. Wait, no, don't close your eyes yet. When I ask you to close your eyes, those of you holding the silver end, you are going to do this. Right? So on the silver end, while yours and the other person's eyes are closed, you'll either hold a thumb up that says, yeah, I'm going to help you and take that risk, or you're going to put your palm up and be, nope, I'm not going to help. You have to do one or the other while the eyes are closed and do it quickly. I will tell you to open your eyes at that point, okay? Everyone look at your end of the rope. We've got the silver end. You're the one holding up your hand. If you're red hand, you just got to handle it. Everybody close your eyes. Silver enders, make your choice with a thumb up or palm up. On 3, you got to have your choice, and you open your eyes on 1, 2, 3. Look at your partner, and what do they choose? Yes. You want to hold your thumb over that blue tray. See that blue tray right there? Hold your thumb over that tray to show what you did. A little bit deeper in. Yeah, all right. That'll be where dice get rolled as well. All right, thank you. Okay. Keeping up your thumb, you have to keep up your thumb or your palm, because I'll describe you. If you have the silver end, if your palm is up, saying nope, then you two just wait for a minute. I'll get to you in a minute. All right. If you have the silver end and your thumb is up, you are going to help save your buddy who's holding the red end. And here's how it goes. So you're in the carriage. You shuffle around quickly behind your partner. You pull at the scourge. The scourge tries to evade. It's skittering around. It turns around and scratches you on the arm a couple times. You take some damage. Damage is like this. So you should have a pencil and a character sheet. On the very front of your character sheet, don't flip the pages. The very front is the very front one you use. There's a section here called hit points. Hit points are on your sheet right below that shield. You can see there's a little number that says maximum, your hit point maximum. So you've lost 1 hit point. So now write down a number that is 1 less than your maximum. All right? So if your maximum is 12, 11, 9, or 8, if you got the silver end and you put your thumb up because you've helped, you write the maximum -1. If it's 12, put down an 11. That's taking 1 point of damage. All right. Now, you holding the other red end, who had that partner who had their thumb up, who got helped out, The surge sucks some blood out of you before it gets pulled out, so you take 1 hit point of damage as well. Same way. Use your pencil, you write the new number. So if there's a thumb up pair, each of you has lost 1 hit point. If you got the palm up, we're still waiting to see what happens to you. Okay, so all of you pairs who had a thumb up, you're done for now. Keep holding the rope, though. All right. Those of you who had a silver end, but you put your palm up, you decide to stay out of danger, and here's what happens. You step away. Nope. Get as far away from that sturge as possible. You, with the silver end, if you're holding up your palm, you take no damage. Don't worry, you're fine. If you're holding the red end and you're facing someone with their palm up, here's what happens. You try to pull out your own sturge, and it really doesn't go very well. You know, it's on an odd angle, its claws dig in even more. By the time you pull it out, it takes a few tries. The sturge is fat with your blood. It drank quite deeply, and you're dizzy. If you have a red end and we're facing a palm up, you take 3 points of damage. 3 points of damage is described. Well, yeah, 3 damage. There we go. You look at your max, but this time the max minus 3. Write that down with your pencil. Everyone keep holding the rope. Okay. So the sturge has been pulled out, both cases. We're going to merge back together. It's been stomped on the carriage, splat like a mosquito, blood and guts all over the place, and it's just gross. But that's over. Oh, wait. Is it over? Because there's more flapping. From the other side of the carriage, ooh, there are some sneaky latecomer sturges, the older ones who knew better than to fly right through. They've circled around through the mist on the other side of the carriage, and they come in to the other side. So swap the ends of your ropes, everybody. Everybody swap ends. Guess what? The red end gets the silver end now has the red end. So we're going to do this again. It's the same choice. You got different roles this time. Now, if you got the silver end, if your partner played it safe, when you got bit, now might be your time for revenge, or I'm not going to help you. Or maybe you're heroic. You're going to help anyway, right? Sure. You'll get less hurt overall. You have an idea of what will happen if you do that. Well, let's say your partner helped you last time, and of course you can return the favor, and you'll probably get a bit damaged by doing so, but you can play it safe because there's definitely no more sturges coming. So, it's all over after this. So you're going to make the choice to help each other out or not. Again, remember the difference between you as a person and you as a character. So we're going to go back again. Remember that we have the yes, I'll help or no, I won't help. And we are going to do this again. When you close your eyes, if you have the silver end, you're going to hold up either a palm, you're not going to help, or the thumb saying you are going to help. Everybody close your eyes. Silver end, hold up a thumb or a palm. On 3, 2, 1, open your eyes and see what your partner is doing. All right, well, you have an idea what to do. So if you have the silver end and the thumb was up, then you save the buddy. Each of you lose 1 hit point. So again, if the thumb was up, you each lose 1 hit point. But this time, you cross out the old total and just write down a lower number, right? If you've taken damage twice, now you're crossing out 1 number, and again, you're subtracting 1. Maybe this is the first time you've taken damage, in which case you don't do that, yeah? So lose 1 hit point. If you've done that, yep, cross that out, yep, good. And if you're holding the other end with the partner, if you got thumbs up, you also subtract 1 hit point. You took some damage before it got pulled out of you. If you're at the red end, you also lose 1 hit point. All right, so all of you that had a thumb up, you're done for now. Those of you who had a silver end with the palm up, you decide to stay out of danger. You step away. No, the sturge drinks deep. If you've got the silver end, you're fine. You evaded any additional damage, perhaps, or maybe you've come off completely scot-free. Who knows? But you are now done. If you got the red end, you are going to subtract yet more hit points. You lose 3 hit points. If you had the red end and you're facing someone with their palm up, you lose 3 hit points. Seems like you've already figured that part out. And true to my word, because a dungeon master would never fool you, there are in fact no more sturges, and the carriage rolls on. All right. Now, remember, it's fine if your character is selfish. It's fine to explore that. Flaws are interesting. And maybe, like in real life, you're nice. You want to exercise a bit of selfishness. But selfish characters will still act eventually in the best interest of the group that they're in, because you're in a world much more dangerous than what you pose to each other. And we'll be getting to that next. This is a team game. Dungeons & Dragons is cooperative. Even though some of you can be a bit selfish and let others take damage instead of you, and maybe you should be taking the damage yourself, ultimately you have to pull together. And we'll be getting some examples of that. Now remember, to evolve, to start off selfish and then turn into a more helpful character is a good character arc that you might explore. All right. Now, hold up that rope again in your pairs. No more sturges, I promise, but hold up that rope in that pair. And hold up your sheet, your character sheet, so that everybody around you can see it. And when you do that, stand up. Everybody stand up and find another pair that has character sheets that are as different from yours as possible. So you're all going to get in groups of 4. And ideally, you find somebody who has pretty much different colors of character sheets. And again, the volunteers will help you get together. You've got to move around maybe. And we do want one group to be right in front here. So you two down here. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so come on down. Great. If you all sit in that front row, if they could sit in the front row, because you'll be rolling the dice there. Yeah. You can move that backpack a little bit and get that die. Yeah, so you've got pairs, volunteers, you two. Volunteers, we've got a pair looking here. Hey, Andy. We got a pair looking here. Hey, Andy. We've got a pair looking for partners here, but I don't see any possibilities here. Are you all together? Good. Wind your ropes together into an X. If you found your partner, wind your ropes into an X so the volunteers can see your partner. So yeah, hold them all together. You're all happy. You're all good. Once you've got that X, go and sit down. So you can sit down holding the X. But if you're all sitting in the front row, that'd be great. If you're all 4 in a row, because you want to roll that die tray. So come on down. All right. And of course, get with friends. Stay with your friends. If you're not in a group, if you're in a group of 2 or 3, that's okay. But a group of 4 is ideal, and the different colors are ideal. Shuffle yourself around. You're gonna be rolling. You're gonna be wanting to look at the die rolls. So yeah, you're close together like that. Yeah. And you can move those bags away a little bit there. Yeah. So you can do that. I know you 4 in a row. Scoot that down a little bit. Maybe move that bag out a bit. Volunteers, are we good? Hey, Mark. Are you looking? Is everybody paired up? Mel, everybody good? It's okay for a color to be duplicated. It's okay to have one duplicate color, but if you have like 3 of the same color, it's going to be less exciting. And you can swap sheets if you really want to. You can still swap sheets around, but with each other. But hopefully it's not necessary. Okay. Volunteers, thumbs up if, as far as you can tell, everybody's in a group of 4. Great. Okay, thank you. Now take a seat. Yeah, take a seat anywhere you like. You just want to have a little spot where you're going to roll one of the dice. You can let go of the ropes and just put them away. You don't need the ropes anymore. It's okay to drop the rope. Sanitize if you want to. It's fine to sanitize. If you got sanitizer, don't be shy. Okay. Great. So you need at least 1 die amongst you, which chances are pretty good. And you'll be rolling that die in a place where everybody can see. But yeah, the way you're sitting seems to be pretty good. Okay. So the 4 of you are what we call an adventuring party in Dungeons & Dragons. And if we were doing normal Dungeons & Dragons, if you come, because in 2 weeks I'm going to invite you to come play Dungeons & Dragons with me as the DM, it would be just you and maybe 8 people, but 4 to 8 people is typical, sitting around a table with 1 dungeon master and only 4 to 8 people. You all have your individual characters and you're all a party. You all cooperate that way. And eventually, as you get together, the group usually turns into like a group of 4 or 5 over time. That's true Dungeons & Dragons. Obviously, this is a little bit different. This is just to give you a taste. So imagine for the rest of it that you are the only ones in the room, you 4, because when I'm talking to you as a group, your fates will be interacting with me. Okay. I'm called the Dungeon Master, or DM for short. So you put the ropes away. It's fine to sanitize. Use that gel. Don't be shy. All right. So tonight, each of you adventuring parties are going to pretend that you, and only you, are around that table and I'm there at the end, looking evil. Tonight, I'm going to be the DM for all of you at once, but we can do this. Hopefully you're having fun, because it's going to get a lot better from here. All right. Now, imagine that in the carriage just has you and the adventuring party riding together, all of you that were connected by that rope. But also there's some regular people in the carriage. Less adventurous types are in this carriage with you as well. They were freaked out by the Sturges, by the way. They like, you notice, like, if they lose a few hit points, they are not looking good. They're looking extremely weak and extremely freaked out. So what do I mean by adventurous types? Well, you're special. And how are you special? You always have felt this way. You probably don't know anybody else before today. You really probably haven't met anybody quite like you with these properties. Maybe you've heard stories about heroes who are like you. Whoa, you might be heroes. Randomly, people sort of have this capacity to do heroic things, and you suspect maybe I'm one of those people. You've got the signs. You are a super fast learner. You always have been. In a week, you get better at something than something that someone's practiced for years. You also bounce back from harm really weirdly fast. You know, like if you get cut, even if you break a bone, if you just kind of rest for a while and kind of set your bone and sort of try to stitch yourself up and meditate or whatever, after a while you're feeling better, like your wounds start to heal really quickly, your bones start to knit together quickly just by taking a little bit of a break. Now you know you can die, and you don't want to. Obviously it hasn't happened to you yet, but you've heard that it's possible for heroes to die. You're just a bit tougher than usual. So you're bolder than most people, and you feel called to do great things in this world, a dangerous world. Now, as we go, I'll say that some of you are extra strong or extra intelligent or extra nimble, because those scores that you see in that first sheet, the higher the number is next to that word means that you're higher than average. A 0 is still average. You're still perfectly good if it's a 0, right? And even a -1 means, oh, you're a little bit less than average, but don't feel too intimidated. However, if you've got a 1 next to, say, intelligence or strength or dexterity or whatever else, that is already extraordinary. That's remarkable, right? You're remarkably strong, remarkably smart compared to everybody you know. A +2 is really impressive. A +3 is incredible. Like, you're like superstar athlete, super genius, super acrobat, super zen, whatever that stat is, you're incredible at that thing if you got a number 3. So, we are going to get to the next element of D&D. And that is the dice. So, nobody controls the dice, despite what everybody says. Nobody controls the dice, and they give the story random twists, for me as well as for you. Since we make together, what we make together is therefore in nobody's control, including mine. And it just goes in any crazy direction. And that is really, interacting with these 3 things makes magic. The dice will react to your choices and give you new choices. The dice can affect the world. The world can affect how you modify those dice so things are more or less probable. All these things are bouncing off each other in a chaotic system, and that's the way it's so good. So, we're going to get some dice involved. Now, you're in a carriage rolling along that mountain road. The carriage has you and the others in your party, remember, adventuring party, those of you connected by rope, but the carriage stops. You hear one of the guards on top roll out, "Oi, we don't pay a toll to you, scum." You hear voices, different voices outside at some distance. They must be in front of the carriage. There's many laughs that come from that direction. And there's a voice you don't recognize. "Well, tough nuts, we scum outnumber you. You'll get 5 arrows in your chests, and you fire your 2 arrows at us, and that'll leave a few of us to take the toll anyway, so pay up." Ooh, road bandits. All right. Well, no. It's time for you heroes to make a little show of force to take care of this problem. So, are you going to get out of the carriage? Hell yeah. Yeah? You're going to get out of the carriage and show some force. So, as you get out, imagine in your mind what you look like right now. What are you wearing? How do you pose? What's your attitude? You get to make this up about yourself as a choice. Do you look dangerous? Do you look persuasive? Do you look crazy? What do you look like? Say a word to others in your party. Each of you just try to say a word right now, like in a word, what do you look like? Talk to each other a bit about what you look like right now. Just a word or two. How do you react when you're stopped by road bandits? Persuasive, crazy, dangerous? What are you wearing? All right. So I'll have to stop there. How could I stop them? You don't want to stop. Great. Okay, great. All right, we got to move on. Hopefully you've said a couple words about what you look like right now. And it's really fun to have that mental image. You have a mental image of yourself and a mental image of the others as part of that magic of D&D as well. So, out you come looking like that. Now you see 5 bandits hiding behind trees and rocks. They've got bows drawn. They see you come out of this carriage, and they are scared shitless. Oh no, that's more than they signed up for. They see you, they look at each other, and it's like, leg it, and they all run. Yeah, okay, I thought D&D was hard. This is great. They take off. And one of them left some things behind, stuff they stole as they went by. So, you see some coins and gems being pulled out by the guards. Now, the driver, Vistra, and the guards do get first pick of this because it is their carriage and their operation. Now, if this is real D&D around the table, you would be able to dispute that right now. You could use your force, perhaps, or persuasion to try to get some of that share. You could all decide, collectively, to fight Vistra and the guards. Don't know how you'll ride the carriage from there or what direction to go, but still, you can figure that out later. You can make that decision as a group. You could choose to chase down those bandits. You could decide to get more stuff from them. That is a choice in real D&D, but in the interest of time, we're not going to do those things. It's not quite real D&D, so let's pretend that you're going to decide to be not quite so violent right now, okay? So, Vistra thanks you for helping out with your show force and gives you some tiny gems. Gems. All right. Now, there's one of each of these in front of you as an adventuring party. But each of these gems has a different value. The higher up it is on this screen here is worth more. The ruby is worth a lot more. The amethyst is worth the least. So how do you split up these gems? Dice! So you decide to roll the dice. Now, your characters, strangely enough, have little D20 sided dice just like you have in your hands there, except maybe, not plastic. Maybe there's something cool like wood or metal or leather or something, right? Something medieval style. Adventurers like you have a pact with each other to stop disputes. This is a code of conduct to stop you from spending all of your weakness, getting weak from fighting and betraying each other. You want to stay strong and unified to survive. So you made an agreement that any treasure that any of you find, you split evenly amongst yourself. And if it can't be split evenly, you use dice to decide who gets first pick. So do that now. Each of you in turn, or you can have more than one, use that blue tray if you're rolling, please. Each of you roll that 20-sided die just once and remember the number that you rolled. Each of you do that. Everybody gets one roll of die and remember your number. Yeah, I'm sorry, you can put your paper down and put it on the bench. Maybe the cushion will allow you. If you put the paper down, it'll give you a somewhat solid surface. Pull out your phone or something, I don't know. Okay. Now compare your numbers to each other and start figuring out who's the highest and who's got first pick, who's second pick, based on this order here. All right. By comparing to each other, okay, just compare your number. Don't talk, I meant to do that. So the highest number gets the top gem on this list, the next higher number gets the second gem on the list, the highest number gets the ruby, the next number gets the emerald, and so on. So go ahead and decide that. If you two of you rolled the same number, then just the two of you do a roll-off. When it gets to your spot in the order, each of you roll again to break the tie, but only breaks the tie. You don't suddenly go to the top of the order by somebody not tied with you. And when you're done, write down the gem that you got in this little space on your sheet. It says equipment. You can see at the bottom of the slide, there's a word called equipment. Just write down the name of that gem. A little bit of loot. Oh, yeah, you can help out. Yeah, you can join on in. If there's a group of 3, it'd be great. Yeah, it'd be great to have this person added to a group of 3. If there's a group of 5, that's okay, as long as you make sure you have a unique character sheet. And find a character sheet that's maybe different from what everybody else there has. What color don't you have? The rest of you, you've written down some treasure? Okay. All right. First encounter with the dice. Great, thanks for rolling in that tray. Just keep rolling your dice in that tray as much as possible. Are you sure you're good back there? Are you comfortable? Because you're in that group, yeah? Yeah, you're in that group? Okay. So as long as it's comfortable for you. It's okay for you to roll your die. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, if you want, you can switch and join that party. If you have a party of four over there. Oh, yeah. If you don't mind. Yeah, is that okay? It'll be a little easier. All right. Okay, so you've written down the gem. We're going to move on. Now, if your party is smaller than 5, the lower gems, they like the amethyst, that didn't get taken up, they get taken by some other sort of adventurous person in the carriage, who did a little bit of a show for us. Not as good as you, but they got the weaker gems. That's fine. Help scare off the bandits. Okay. Now, did somebody in the party say something like, "I steal your gem"? Somebody say, "I steal your gem"? Somebody here should have said, "I steal your gem." Of course you did. Yeah. Now, how many of you who said to steal gems say, "Oh, but I'm a rogue. That's what I do. I'm good at stealing. That's what my character would do." Right? Typical rogue behavior. That's fine. That's fine. I'm glad that you're acting in character. That's great. But it's true, that in D&D you get to make bold choices, and stealing from people outside your party happens all the time. No problem. You can be a thief. However, even then, as your dungeon master, I don't want our story to be about you all fighting each other and betraying each other and lying to each other. I don't want the story to be about a party screwing each other because you're in a dangerous world. I love a story about you being unified. It's just not so fun, at least for me, and probably not so fun for most of the people at your table. So I'm going to ask you to play as a character who, whatever the rest of your personality, you do recognize that it's in your interest and you want to work together, at least temporarily, with these people here with you. You're just like you're on a sports team together, right? If you're on a sports team, you don't grab the ball away from your teammate. You've got, you want to save your nasty moves against your opponents on the field. So that's the spirit that we're playing with here. Okay. Now, each of you in this adventuring party are good at different things, and you each get a chance to shine. So we'll get to that. Now, you're riding in that carriage. You're climbing higher, and you're at the summit. Very cold. There's snow on the ground. Steam is rising from those horses. You're probably keeping a better eye outside now, as cold as it is, because there's things in the road, and now you're established your adventurousness, so you're helping keep an eye out. It's about noon, and the road is getting quite narrow. There's a steep mountainside up on one side, and a big drop-off to your right. You hear and then see this booming voice, and you look down the road and you see a giant baby. I mean like a baby who's giant-sized, or like if a giant had a baby, like a giant-sized baby, like a baby as big as you are. All right. It has a red sash around its waist. It's nice and big and chubby. It's got dead animals tied to it, and it sees you. Its eyes light up. Oh, he comes running towards you with a big grin. He wants to play. Ah, nice. He grabs the side of the carriage and starts to rock it back and forth like a toy. This carriage is going to fall and roll, and it's going to go down that hill, and that's not a good thing. So, sorry, baby, not today. It's time for a hero. Now, who is the best one in your party to jump out and push back against that baby? This is someone who has a strength of +3 on that sheet. So down one side of your sheet, you have those numbers. There's a little word called strength. One of you might have a +3, right? So you check your sheets here. If you have a yellow sheet, it's a noble fighter, you have the +3. But maybe there's nobody with a yellow sheet, in which case, so if you got the yellow sheet, you're the hero. Grab that D20. So if you got a +3, grab the D20, because you're going to roll. If you do not have a yellow noble fighter who has a strength of +2, who has the next higher strength? Who's got a +2? The dwarven clerics, those of you with the pink sheets here. Yeah? You have a strength of +2, so you're the strongest one, and you pull out the die. If there's two of you with the same strength, you are both going to roll. You both get out of the carriage. The folksy, the green fighter, surely, if nobody else, the one with the green sheet has got a +2, a +1, raise your die, get ready to roll. If you're tied for the strongest, if you've both got a +3, both got a +2, you both get a die ready, even 2 dice, or just get ready to roll the die twice. So, you strong heroes, you're the ones that scramble out and you start pushing on the other side of this carriage. Now, I'm going to pretend to be you. Okay, so one of you out there with the yellow sheet right there. All right, so I've got my die. So if you're rolling, I've got my die. Now, I need to know my strength bonus. Okay, +3. I look that up. Okay, 3. Remember that. So I roll this die and I'm going to add 3 to it because that's my strength bonus. So whatever I rolled, I roll, right? So I rolled a 5. And my strength bonus is 3. Oh no, math. This is as hard as the math gets. That's 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. That's my number. So I would tell the DM, oh, I got an 8. Is that high enough? If I rolled an 8 and I tell the dungeon master that, is that high enough to stop the giant baby from pushing the carriage over the edge? So all you strong heroes who have held up your die, if you've already rolled it, you got to keep it. That was not a practice roll. I didn't tell you to roll the die. If you roll the die, it counts. But if you haven't rolled the die yet, but you're ready to, again, yellow, pink, green sheets with the 2, roll that die and add that number now. Roll it and find your total. Just think of that total. Look, you want to look because this is going to affect all of you. And please roll in that, yeah. There you go, good. All right. Yeah, don't worry about turning it, that's fine. I can see it, no problem. Okay. If 2 of you rolled, of course, if you both roll, you each have your number. All right. Any questions? Raise your hand if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Your volunteers will help you. Okay. Is your total 12 or higher? If you got a 12, if either of you got a 12, if there's 2 of you, either of you gets a 12, that counts as a win. If you have one roller, they have to have a 12 or higher total. The die plus that number is a 12. That's a win. So some parties have a winner. You had a high enough total. Some don't have a winner, didn't get high enough. So we're going to do a little temporary split. If your party had a winner, all in your party, everybody together, your fate is shared. All of you right now, raise your fists and yell, hell yeah, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah! All right. Those of you who have a winner in your party, this is what happens to you. Those strong heroes get out of the carriage. The rest of you are terrified inside, just bracing and holding things down in case things go bad. There's a pushing war with that carriage and the baby on the other side. The baby wants to push it over. You push back and forth. But you are able to hold it on. And then there's a voice off in the distance. Tyrone! Lunchtime! Get back here, you dummy! The baby looks very guilty all of a sudden. The giant baby brushes himself off. He's cleaning up. He puts his huge finger against one nostril and snot comes out to clean himself up. There's a sparkle. There's a ringing sound. Coins come out of his nose. Yay, more treasure! The baby runs off to its mom. Okay, so each of you who are in a party who had a winner, write, if you got a 12 or higher in that group, write your treasure on your sheet. And here's how you do it. These are copper coins. And in the bottom where equipment is, it's rather faint, so it's the top one. There's a little CP that shows there. It says CP. Write your treasure on your sheet, a 9 next to the CP, the very top thing, that top little bucket there. Copper pieces. Well, they're all right. They're like pennies, but hey, you got 9 of them. If you got a green pencil, you should write snot coins next to them. All right. Now, if your party did not have a winner, if you didn't roll a 12 or higher, all of you in the party, just as loud as everybody else, stomp your feet and yell, oh shit, on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Those of you who don't have a winner, here's what happens to you. The strong heroes get out of the carriage. They are pushing back and forth. That wrestling is going okay at first. They push back, but you strong heroes did not do quite strong enough. The baby wins, and the carriage rolls over. Bam, goes downhill, rolls over again. Bam, hits a rock and stops. The horses break free and start running around. All of you have taken a couple tumbles, including you, have been pushing, got rolled over. It stops, but everybody in the party got a little bit hurt. Everybody lose 1 hit point. If you said, oh shit, because you didn't roll high enough, subtract further from your hit point total. Everybody in your party loses 1. Just like you did with the Sturgis. All right. Our story continues from there, so now let's unify the story again. Someone else in the party is probably going to get a chance to shine or fail trying. So now you're heading downhill past the summit, and you see Timberway Valley. So you're actually seeing from the point of view of those mountains, that gap in the mountain, but this is a nicer angle. Gorgeous looking. It's full of trees. You're looking to the east, and whenever I gesture this way is always my east here. You see a valley. You see some low hills on the far end of that. And then you could see this line, like the gray of the sea. That sea that you heard about is way out there in the distance. Maybe it's the first time you've seen it. The afternoon sun is glinting off of waves out there. In the valley, there's a river that ends in that sea, and that river's winding through Timberway Valley. The river comes from the north and takes a big bend and goes off to the east. And then at that bend, you see a little, it's almost like a toothpick, like a bridge lying across that bend. Ah, you know that bridge, that's a landmark. Your road is going to take you over that bridge, and you know the farmland is off there. And you look carefully, yeah, the forest is thinner there. There's some open spaces, that must be the farmland. So your new home is just within view. But wait a second, something interrupts you. The carriage has stopped. And lying in the road is a figure who has long hair in this extravagant pompadour with fancy, very fancy, shiny silver splinted armor. And they raise their head as they sit up. They have a visor over their eyes, like a silver box, and they push it up onto their forehead, and you see that there's this burned mark over their eyes, like red, raw, blistered skin, and their eyes are really big and crazy and gleaming as they look at you with a big grin. They cackle madly and pull out a broom that they're lying under their body. Horsies? Horses. Heat rises. Come, horsies. Come, horsies. I need you to pull the chariot. And this figure climbs onto that broom and rises up into the air and starts to wave their hands. They start concentrating on something as they look at the horse. The horses all start to complain and whinny. You see that the chains and the metal harnesses are starting to glow red, and there's a sizzling sound. Smoke is starting to rise. You smell hair and flesh, and the horses are starting to scream as the heat is penetrating their skin. And it must be this spell that they're casting that's doing this to this metal. This person on the broom, they fly them, they're hovering really far above you, and you can see that they're up next to the tree line. It's very easy for them to move out of sight at any moment, but they're here, they're just looking at you, saying, "Rise, rise, ride the chariot." So, you have one shot to interrupt this spell, to get them now with the first shot that they're not expecting. This shot won't kill them probably without armor, but it might make them stop that spell. So it is time for another hero. Who is the best one in your party who has a weapon with an attack bonus of +7, or the highest one? This is an example from the green sheet. So the green sheet that says folk hero on the top, there's a little box there that says longbow with a +7 next to it. If you don't have a green sheet, there might be someone with the blue sheet who has a short bow with a +5 next to it, I think. So, if you are the one with the best attack roll, hold up your die, because you're going to be one taking the shot. Just like last time, you'll roll. You parties, if you don't have a folk hero fighter, look for the one with the blue sheet with a +5 probably. Please don't roll unless I say so, but if you rolled, it counts. The halfling rogues, the blue sheets, if you have a +5, now you've got the die. If you're tied for the best shot, then both of you roll and only one of you has to succeed in a moment. Okay, both get your die ready. If there's neither of those, wow, if nobody's got either of the ones, well, one of you just grabs a bow from the guard. They're frozen with fear. You're not used to firing this bow, so you just get a +3. If you don't have someone with a green or blue sheet, you're just going to do your best with the +3. Anybody can do that. So, you shooters, you raise that bow and you aim. Now, the figure, they look surprised at seeing you aim at them, and they start to move away on the broom, but you are a little bit faster, you get one shot off. Now, I'll pretend again to be you. So if I got the green sheet, I got my die, I look at my attack bonus, it says 7, so I roll this die and I add 7. If I roll a 6, okay, I've rolled a 6, I add 7, that's 13, okay, that's good. That's my number. But is 13 high enough to hit this loony who is far away, moving back and forth, and wearing very good armor? So, next, all of you shooters, roll your die now. If you've got ties, both of you roll the die, roll in that tray. There you go, very good. Look up your attack bonus, add that to the roll, just like with the strength. Green sheets, you add 7 to whatever you rolled. Blue sheets, you add 5 to whatever you rolled, and think of your total. Everybody should be interested in this. Good. Is your total 16 or higher. 16 or higher is the number. Yes, well, someone's very hard to hit in that particular circumstance. The numbers that you have to hit can change based on the circumstance. They have that kind of protection. Now, if you're the folk hero with the green sheet, you must have rolled a 9 or higher to get that 16, and 16 is enough to win. If you had the blue sheet, you had to roll an 11, so your chances are a little bit worse. If 2 of you rolled, only 1 of you needs to succeed, if you both rolled with equal numbers. So, if your party has a winner, all of you raise your fists and say, hell yeah, on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Those of you with the winner, here's what happens to you. The bow twangs. The arrow hits, yes, in that armor. It threw a gap in the armor near their waist. It breaks their concentration. The heat stops. The horses start to cool down instantly. They have this arrow. They pull out the arrow. They say, rude, and they fling the arrow back at you. Luckily, it doesn't hit you. And as they do so, silver bracelets that they're coated with come flying off of their wrist. They give you the forks, and they fly off with their broom. But there's silver in the road, and you have treasure. So each of you in a party that had a winner, only if your hero in the party got a 16 or higher, write silver bracelet in that same area, but to the side now, write silver bracelet, and then in brackets say 1 SP. It's worth 1 silver piece. It means you can sell that bracelet anywhere. Anybody will pay you 1 silver piece just for the raw metal in it. But maybe more if you find a real interested party. Maybe you'll get more money for that if you have the story to tell and they like that story. Now, at a distance off the road, you see that something else silver has fallen into the woods as they fly away. Something silver comes tumbling off of them from on top of their head and vanishes into the trees. You might make a mental note of that. It's that visor that was on their head. What was that thing? That's a teaser for the full session. Later on, you can decide as a party, like, we're going to go find that thing in the forest because we're going to remember where it is. The horses are okay, their hair got scorched, and they've taken only a little bit of damage. Vistra is very thankful to you. Good job. Now, if your party did not have a winner, stomp your feet and say, oh shit, on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, those of you who don't have a winner, here's what happens to you. Now, if you did a pretty good roll, it means the arrow hit them, but it bounced off their armor. If your bad roll was like the total was 10 or less, then it just means that it sailed right by them, unfortunately. They have flown off the side without being hit, but the spell continues, and they're able to concentrate even if they're not there. That's what makes these spellcasters so dangerous. It's devastating, and it keeps going and going. The horses are screaming, so you all jump off, and you pull all these bits of harness and have to unlock it, because without horses, you're stranded. You uncouple those hot chains, and you get burns. All of you lose 1 hit point, so you know what to do. If you're in a party that had not high enough, you all lose 1 hit point. Just like you did at the Sturgis. The horses are very badly burned. Horses have hit points too, and I'd be writing that down as a dungeon master. The horses are wounded. Vistra is very upset and distracted. Okay. All right. That took some time. Reharnessing the horses, calming them down. You had to do that twice because the baby, perhaps, the giant baby was a delay in any case. Vistra is panicking. There's some sort of time limit that you're being aware of where they say you must get to the valley floor before dark. Well, the road has gone into this notch now. The walls are getting higher and higher on either side. It's like carved into this rock, and then you come out of the notch fairly quickly, and you are now much lower down. You come out from the side of a cliff, and this is a weird cliff. You look sort of left to right. It's like 30 meters tall, and it's extremely straight and sheer, going exactly north-south in both directions as you're riding east. What's up with this cliff? On the north side of the cliff, it's covered with ice, but on the south side of the cliff, it's just normal rock. That's weird as well. Anyway, the guards peer out. The sun is setting, and you see the shadow of the mountain. You're in the shadow of the mountain now, and the line of that shadow is up ahead. The valley floor ahead is still sunny, and it's going to be close. So you start, go, go, go. The horses are going dangerously fast, and you're twisting down these switchbacks. It winds down, it starts to flatten out. Now you're surrounded by boulders, all the things that have come off that mountain and those cliffs over the centuries, but you're still in shadow. But that line of sunlight is just another minute away, but it's too late because something happens. Oh, I love it when Dungeon Masters say something happens. Rumble, 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 crack. Boulders roll into your path from either side, and maybe you see some small figures that are pushing those boulders. Crack, they come in front of you, and they collide in the road. So, whoa, the horses stop, and the carriage is confused, the road is blocked, and on all sides, small creatures come swarming out from behind those boulders, and they're kind of hard to see in this shadow that you're in. Vistra screams, "No, we almost reached the sunlight! Morning Lord, save us! Bring us your light!" The gods may hear you, but no help comes. The kobolds attack you. Kobolds! They're short. They only come up to your waist. How bad can they be? They're covered with scales, and they got dragon faces. They have daggers and slings that are twirling around. They've got these beady, cold eyes. And all the stories you've heard about them are that they're extremely greedy, and this greed very often has them do some evil acts. In any case, the guards are very worried. The carriage instantly is starting to rock. The kobolds are slashing the straps that are holding bags and things to the side. Chests and stuff. A chest is freed with a clunk. It falls off the back of the carriage. It breaks open. There's some sort of shiny sphere inside, like a big metal sphere inside that chest. But the kobolds, they keep on looting things. Others are moving in to attack from the other direction. The guards call for help. This all happened in a couple seconds, faster than I can say it. You get out, ready to fight. We're going to have a round of combat. All right. So we're about to play part of D&D that's like a game within a game. And this game is more precise, usually because life and death are on the line. This combat is very basic, but it'll give you a taste. And as we advance, these game tactics get very complex, deciding what to do. But we do a very simplified version here. But this is head-to-head, like a footy match. And the kobolds are on the other team. Combats go in rounds. Everybody gets a turn, and so you can see here. So in a round of combat, each PC gets one turn to attack. Each monster also gets one turn to attack. This all involves dice. An attack can kill something, wound it, knock it out, weaken it somehow, slow it down. Many different things attacks can do. If you don't eliminate monsters, then there's just more of them to attack you as we go. Okay. So let's say there's a volunteer out there, and we'll show how to attack. So let's see somebody in the front that has a blue sheet. You're a rogue. If you got a blue sheet, you're a rogue, I think. Yeah, you've got a sword, a short sword. You don't have to stand there. That's fine. I promise not to put anybody in the spot. I'm not going to break that now. So let's pretend that when you rolled a 10. Let's pretend you rolled a 10 for your attack. Now, the kobold's a little tough to hit. And you see here, there's a slide. See, the kobold's armor class is 12. Right, so I rolled a 10, and the armor class is 12. That looks like that's not high enough, right? It's not high. The higher this number, the harder to hit, and that would mean that you don't kill it. But wait, you are a hero. You're not a piker. You know how to use a sword, so you know how to fight. You get to add 5 to that roll. All right, what's that add up to? 10 plus 5 is 15. All right, that is enough to hit the kobold because of your skill. So you see how those combine. Your luck and your skill have combined. So, hell yeah, you hit the kobold with your sword if you roll that well. But that's just pretend, too bad. Okay, so now let's pretend that you rolled a 5. Ooh, well, okay, you can add 5 to it, but still it only adds up to 10. 10 is less than 12, and you still don't hit the kobold. You miss it, or it glances off its skin harmlessly, and now it's mad at you. Oh, shit. Okay, so if you're all ready, we're all going to do a little bit of that now. Now, we'll do this where the first characters I call out are the fastest. You'll notice the ones that have the highest dexterity bonus, they tend to go first in combat, so that's what the order goes. Everyone, though, when it's not your turn, is your story. Imagine the scene anyway. It's a lot more fun if you stay plugged in and tuned and cheering each other on and joining in. It's fun to play this through in your head. So we'll start off with the halfling rogues with the blue sheets. Halfling, so the real sheet is this again. Yeah, so you're looking at the stuff on the front. You are brave, you halfling rogues. You run into the fray with your short sword, and you know, it looks large in your small hand, because remember, you're only about this tall, about the same height as the kobolds. The kobold is slashing a dagger at a guard. You come at that kobold from the blind side. You do this sneaky attack. You now roll a d20, and you're a hero, so add 5. So roll your die, but that short sword bonus is a 5. Yeah. So you've got a number, that is the what you rolled plus the 5. Is your total 12 or higher? 12 or higher, because that's the armor class of the kobold as we established. All right, that means you hit it. All of you who hit your kobold, say hell yeah on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes, all right, let's tell your story. If you rolled high enough, up to 12, you sneak behind that kobold, you tap it on one side, it turns, and you slit its throat from behind. Oh, sneaky attack. It does a lot of damage, and it goes down. Very nice. Spectacular. Bloody death. I love it. Your halflings, rogues, the blue sheet, if you did not roll high enough, it didn't add up to 12, you didn't do damage. Now it's my turn to say, hell yeah, because here's what happened. As you run up, the kobold sees you out of the corner of its eye. It turns its scaly shoulder into you and knocks you back before you have a chance to slash. If you rolled really high, maybe it just glances off of its skin, but you still didn't roll high enough. The kobold is still alive, and now it wants to attack you. Move on to the elves with the purple robe, the purple sheets. So if you're the elves, the purple sheets, holding that up, this color. All right. So hang back as a wizard. You'll find out why you like to stay away from combat. You hold up your palm and you twirl it, and you're gesturing with the other hands. I did sort of twirl with my hips at the same time. I mean, if you're like the Elvis kind of wizard, you could do that, I guess. So you swirl all over and you chant some magic words, and a blue-white beam comes out of the palm of your hand, and it's like a flashlight. You can aim it at things, and you get that look on your face. It goes a very long way. You roll a d20 and you add 5 because you're good at aiming. So, wizards, roll a d20, add 5 for your heroism. So you got a number. If you rolled high enough, it adds up to 12. 12 is your magic number for the armor class again. On 3, yell hell yeah. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that all the wizards who rolled a 12 yell hell yeah. 1, 2, 3. Oh, not many. Okay, those of you who win, you hit the kobold. You hit it in the leg, and ice covers its leg, and it starts moving slowly, and now you can aim it, really zero it in. You sort of paint the whole thing with ice. It turns this whole ice-covered statue. It falls dead and frozen, and this arm breaks off. Oh yeah, it's dead. If you did not roll high enough, if you did not get a 12, it's my turn to say, hell yeah, on behalf of the kobolds, of course, because the beam flashes over the kobold, maybe makes a little stripe on its leg, but doesn't leave any damage. It dodges and rolls out of the way. You can't follow it. The beam isn't moving fast enough. It hits the ground. They get out of the way, they get out their sling, and they're now looking at you, and they are angry. If you're the human folk hero fighter with the green sheet, it is your turn in the initiative of this combat. You pull out your bow, your longbow. Now you scan for an open target, you're going to look for a hard-to-hit target, because you're really good with your bow, something that other people have a hard time hitting. You see a kobold leaning out from between two boulders, and that makes it a little bit harder to hit, but you're really good. So you go for that one. You are confident. You aim at the kobold, the arrow flies with a twang. So you roll the d20, but add 5. I know your sheet says 7, but because it's got those boulders, you can only add 5. So if you're a green sheet, roll your d20 and add 5. You get your total. Still going against armor class. So your total has to be 12 or higher. And if you got a 12 or higher, your whole group can yell hell yeah. 1, 2, 3. All right. So the arrow, oh yes, an arrow in the neck. Yes, you probably do that gesture, And the kobold falls over. Nice shot. Very well done. Okay. If you did not roll high enough, I say hell yeah as that arrow, ting, maybe grazes the rock. Like you got very close, you can blame the rock. If it's really low, it missed them entirely, but you can pretend that it hit the rock, that's okay. And the kobold is alive and mad at you. Last, well not last, but near last, you've got the human noble fighters with your yellow sheets. You're a little slow, but you're sturdy. That's good, that's fine, it's your turn. You face down the kobold with a dagger, but you come up toe-to-toe with this one. You've got a great axe that you hold with both hands. Chop! You chop with 2 hands. Now roll that d20, yellow sheets, and add 5 because you are good with that axe. Get your total. And if you have a 12 or higher, All right, good. All right. So if you rolled high enough and got a 12 against the armor class, the kobolds, yell hell yeah on 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, come on, you killed a kobold. 1, 2, 3. Yes, better. Yeah, you cleave that thing in half with that axe, and it falls into pieces at your feet. Yes. All right. If you did not roll high enough, I say hell yeah, as that great axe is a little too slow. The kobold dodges out of the way, and it chops into the road, but it is alive and mad at you. Dwarven clerics with the pink sheets. Hold that up there. It is your turn. Slow but steady, you clerics are. You do something a little different. You see kobolds off far behind the rocks, quite far away, and you hear it before you see it. It sounds like, and there's a strangling sound of a person being strangled behind those rocks. It's probably somebody who tried to run from the carriage, and the kobold, you can see like its ear once in a while. Like you couldn't, even the bow fighter could not shoot it. You just see that once in a while. Yeah, so anyone else in the party would have to run up there to get there, and that would take too long. They might be dead. So you call on whatever god or goddess, whatever deity you worship, that's who you're talking to now, clerics, because that's what it means. And there are many gods in Dungeons and Dragons. They're real. The dispute is like maybe they're just extremely powerful creatures, but they channel magical power to you, unlike the wizard who reads it out of books. You just talk to your deity to get your magical power. Maybe they're more than creatures. Maybe they're super divine. Maybe they know everything. They're always fighting each other. You know, there's lots of them. You don't know. But anyway, they're powerful. So you call on God to cast this spell. And a holy bolt of fire comes down from the sky. Or if you're worshiping a different kind of deity, maybe it shoots up from the ground. That's up to you. And the kobold would be hard to hit in any other way. But when a god is doing the job, it doesn't matter whether you can see it or not very well. You pray, that bolt of fire appears. So you roll a d20 and add 5. Clerics, you with the pink sheets, roll and add 5. Again, this is how good you are with your spell. Add it, that's right. Okay, if you rolled high enough, if you rolled a 12, if you got a 12 or higher, that kobold is hit, and you get to yell, hell yeah, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, hell yeah, God. All right. Thank you, goddess. Boom, the kobold is burned to a crisp by that divine flame. Now, if you did not roll high enough, if it didn't add up to a 12, I say, hell yeah! Now, I want to make one thing very clear. God did not make a mistake. The fire was on target. You just weren't faithful enough for it to be powerful, all right? Gods don't like to be told they got something wrong. But the kobold maybe saw it coming or, run away, dove away, and is mad at you. But at least it's not strangling. You see that person run away, and at least you saved a life by shooting at it. Good job. Now, it's the kobold's turn. Same as you, they get a turn in combat. Now, if you did not kill your kobold, if you personally did not kill your kobold, you were in bigger danger because it wants to attack you. But even if you killed your kobold, that's great, but there's many kobolds swarming out. Each of you is going to be attacked by a second kobold now that is just running into the fray. So all of you are going to get attacked from the second kobold. I'm going to call out to each one of you, and you're going to see if a kobold hits you. Now the die is mine to roll, and just like you did for the monster uses the same roll. I roll, I see if it meets your armor class. AC is displayed up at the top of your sheet in that little shield. And you see there's quite a difference. AC, above your hit points. I'll describe why it's that high or that low as we go. So I'm going to roll my die, but I only get to add 4 because kobolds are not as good as you. I want to roll high. I'm playing the part of the kobold. And even though Dungeon Masters tend to want a good story and they'll cheer you on, during combat, Dungeon Masters tend to be a bit more confrontational, like, I want to kill you. I'm representing the monsters. So let's do a little bit of that. And I'm going to really roll this. Okay. So Halfling Rogues with the blue sheets, your AC is what? What's your number? 14. That's right. You have leather armor. But that is light, so you have high dexterity, so you're really good at dodging. You can take a few scratches, but a lot of your armor comes from dodging around. The kobold rushes in from the shadows, lashes out with this dagger, and this attack is going to all of you rogues. Whether you killed your kobold or not, this is a different kobold that is coming at you. So everybody pay attention. I roll. I'm going to roll this. I got a 12. I add 4. That is a 16 compared to your AC. That's more than your armor class of 14. So all of you rogues get stabbed by the kobold. Yeah. If you got stabbed, you can yell, oh shit, at 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the dagger slashes your upper arm. Your nice armor. You're going to have to stitch that up later. A little blood. All of you halfling rogues with the blue sheets, subtract 2 hit points. This is a little bit more severe. Use your pencil. But if you are a rogue, so hopefully nobody's dead. I'll ask if you're dead, don't worry. If you're a rogue who failed to kill your kobold, now you personally may not have killed that kobold when you rolled, you've got a second kobold, just you, against you. Let's continue the story with that kobold taking revenge on you. So if you did kill your kobold, ignore this bit. So I'm going to roll again, another kobold. I rolled a 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 is less than your armor class. All right. That one you dodge out of the way. Good. So you don't take any additional damage because of my low roll, and you're good dodging. Elves, with the purple sheets, you're going to go next. Your armor class is what? Elves, wizards, purple sheets, 12. Oh, no, okay. Well, you don't have any armor. You can't wear armor, you're a wizard. But you do have fairly high dexterity for a wizard, so you're a little bit better at dodging than your average wizard, okay? So that's good. Most wizards have armor class 10, which means it's very important for them to stay behind the battle and let the stronger ones or the harder to hit ones take more protection. The kobold pops up at a distance, though, and swings that sling and fires that sling at you, and it flies at you like a bullet. Again, all of you wizards are going to suffer this attack. I'm going to add 4. I rolled a 17 plus 4 is 21. That is well enough to hit. You don't even see it coming. It's like bonk. You just get hit in the head. It cracks your collarbone, let's say. Head sounds a little severe. Ow! All of you elven wizards subtract 2 hit points. Ouch. Any wizards at 0 HP, raise your hand if you say, I'm at 0. Not yet. Okay. All right. Now, if you're a wizard who failed to kill your kobold with your little ice beam, that means you continue the story with just you, with a revenge kobold. That kobold that you didn't kill is going to roll. Another sling bullet comes at you. Well, I roll a 15, plus another 4 is 19. Oh, a second one, you're like, ow, my collarbone, ow, my leg. You take another 2 hit points of damage. Raise your hand if you've got 0 hit points. It's okay. Don't be ashamed. You don't have to leave the room if you're at 0, I promise. Did you raise your hand? Oh, you had a shit day, hey? Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll take care of you in a minute. That's fine. Okay, so you're not dead. You're talking to God right now, but you're not quite dead. Okay. All right. The human folk hero fighters with the green sheets. Your armor class is what? 14, yeah, you've got leather armor as well, like the rogue. You know how to wear stronger metal, okay, but maybe you can't afford it because, you're a folk hero, you don't really have a job. So, you can't afford that armor, or maybe you just like to be sort of light on your feet. So, your armor class is 14. You dodge. Kobold appears behind the boulder that you fired towards, nearby, but this is, remember, a second kobold, so all of you are going to get this attack. I roll 5 plus 4 is a 9. That's less than your 14. So yes, that's less than your armor class. Folk hero fighters yell, hell yeah, on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. So that's great. You dodge, you twist out of the way, or maybe if that was so low that it misses you entirely. You're quite good. If you are a folk hero who failed to kill your kobold just then, there's a second attack coming towards you. This one is a 17 plus 4. That's a 21, higher. So on 3, yell, oh shit. 1, 2, 3. Yes, take 2 points of damage. If you did not kill your kobold, you just took 2 points of damage then. Human noble fighters with your yellow sheets. Your armor class is what? Oh, 17. You've got chainmail. Very expensive, very fancy, but you are a noble, It's probably got your family crest on it. It looks very nice. Nobility has its privileges. The kobold runs up to you. It's got a sprint, and it's going to swing a club at you this time. Now, I roll, and I get, an 11 plus 4, 15. You're like, dink, and glances off your armor. You're fine. You don't take any damage, you nobles. If you did not kill your kobold, a second kobold comes up from the other side and tries to hit you with the club. So if you did not kill a kobold, I roll a 2, and plus 4 is a 6. You step out of the way. You human nobles are all fine. Good job. Okay. Dwarven clerics with your pink sheets. Your armor class is what? 18. Ooh, the best yet. You got chainmail. You also have a shield. And the shield adds another one. It does tie up one of your hands. So your weapon is a one-handed weapon, so it doesn't do as much damage as that big two-handed axe. So it's a bit of a trade-off that you have. But you've got a war hammer, which is pretty badass. So you're going to see that happen as the kobold runs up, uses a sling, firing at you from a distance. I roll against that armor class. 16 plus 4 is a 20. Yes, hell yeah. So despite that, it still finds a weak part in that armor. You don't raise your shield in time, you lose 2 hit points. Clerics, if you did not kill your kobold, you get a second kobold attacking you. Oh, a 16 plus 4 is another 20. Yes, a second hit from you, clerics. You're the ones who are supposed to be healing other people, not taking the damage. Okay, despite your armor, you cop it pretty bad and lose another 2 hit points, clerics. Who here is at 0 hit points? Raise your hand for everybody who's out of 0 hit points. We had 1. Okay, so I know one of you lost that. Well, your shit day. You know, you might have gotten screwed by your Sturge partner. Maybe your party failed a few rolls. You got hit a lot by kobolds, okay? So, but you're special. That's the good news. Ordinary people would be dead, but you cling to life, even at 0 hit points. Also, while you're down, you saw the afterlife a little bit. You saw the gods and goddesses and stuff, so you get to write that on your sheet. If you went down to 0 hit points, write on sheet, almost died, saw gods. And remind your DM of that later on. That might give you a little in with the gods later on. You then, in that sort of misty haze, you hear Vistra singing, spouting verse and song, but Vistra's dead. I mean, you saw Vistra being attacked, like it seems unlikely, but they're definitely singing to you. You rise up from near death. Some sort of magical power gives you the ability to rise again with 2 hit points. Spooky. So if you're at 0, you now get to cross out and go up to 2. All right. I've got some great news because you and the guards have killed a lot of kobolds. That's really good. But I've got some bad news. There are a lot of kobolds. Now, you did very well. But, you know, like Game of Thrones, sometimes your favorite character, you know, bad things happen to them anyway, despite them being so good. Lord of the Rings, you know, even good parties, good fighters, exciting heroes, they lose sometimes. It has gotten dark. You know why Vistra was so terrified of it being daylight? Because the kobolds are swarming in from every direction. You can't even see them. They're slashing and flinging death from everywhere. The horse goes down, slashed by knives. Another one runs away, the horse does. The driver, Vistra, you see their throat get slit in front of your eyes and collapse to the ground. And Vistra is not a hero. Vistra is dead. One guard, his head is being bashed in with a rock. The cousin comes up. She stabs the kobold doing that, but the other one jumps from the shoulder onto her back. You have a temporary sort of 3-way sort of stack, and the dagger plunges in. She falls down. The other passengers are surrendering. But the kobolds don't take prisoners. They want to take your loot, and they don't want them to give away this ambush spot. They put daggers to throats. Death is starting to leak out all around you. You heroes are surrounded, facing death. You think this is the end? And, you know, sometimes that's the breaks. You're just level 1. If you see the top of your sheet, there's a 1 next to that class. You know, this is why you're seeking adventure. You wanted to get experience. You wanted to get better. You could become level 2. If you were level 2 or 3, you might have won this battle. We would play it all out if we had time. But not today. So... good night, everybody. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No. You think you're breathing your last. You're staring death in the face. And an especially well-armored and bejeweled kobold sees this broken open chest that I mentioned earlier and that shiny sphere inside, and she calls out to the others. They pause slaying. All the kobolds listen to her. The kobolds call her, not, and they were pointing at her. She's a leader. She warily goes over, she kicks open that chest and reveals those things. And the most intelligent ones in the party get a good look at this thing now. It's called an orrery. It's a big interlocking set of hoops that represent planets and orbiting heavenly bodies, comets, and where the stars are relative to the planet that you're on. It's a space around your world, and they all rotate around. It looks kind of broken and kind of dented, but it looks impressive. Natnak is very excited when she sees the orrery. She says more to kobolds in an odd language. Noble fighters and wizards, the yellow sheets and the purple sheets, you actually know this language. If you saw your sheet later on, you notice that you know the language called Draconic, which is the language of dragons. You don't have to check. Don't confuse yourself, but believe me, it's there. Kobolds speak the language of dragons for some reason. And they don't use the word orrery. They use this weird word that's not even a draconic thing. It's got a lot of X's and K's in it. It's a strange word. And when they do it, they all point up at this angle in the eastern sky, all the same angles, sort of staring off into the stars. Nat wants you to be alive. So you're taken as prisoners. You're taken up to the south. She says, take them prisoner, get the orrery with them, sell them to the kobolds down there. They're going to want to talk to them. Keep you alive. One of you, she says, has got to own this thing and know how to work it. So, all of you in the party are alive, but caught. Most other carriage prisoners have survived. They're very worse off. Your hero heart is burning. What do you feel right now? Is it anger? Is it excitement? Is it fear? Something's awakening in you. This peril is doing that thing again. It's when you're the most stressed that you feel yourself getting better and learning from what just happened. You get a chance. You'll escape this, you know. But now's not the time. There's too many kobolds. You are manacled. Your hands in front of you. You get stuff taken away from you. Your armor is kept on, but all of your stuff, your backpack is taken off of you. A couple dozen kobolds take you, and Nat and most of the others stay behind. They take all the loot left behind. They start heading north. You make a note to the direction they're going because they go off the road and follow a hidden trail. You're going to remember that later, perhaps. Now, this is actually the start of the greatest adventure that defines you. If you had won, you would have gone to that farm. You might have fought some goblins. Goblins were attacking the farms, we would have discovered, and many people would be dying. Eventually, those goblins stop attacking, and thank goodness. Why? Because some heroes stopped those goblins from coming to the farm and attacking. Stopped it at source. Luckily for you, you lost this battle, so you're being kidnapped, so the heroes are going to be you. You're going to be the ones that are going to try to find the source of these goblins coming from the south. Anyway, you don't feel like heroes right now because you're being hooked and prodded and led in a line southward. You can tell that you're sort of, the night is falling. You have a high wisdom score in your party. The higher your wisdom, the better your sense of direction. You know you're going south, southeast. And those of you who understand Kobold's language of Draconic, you know they're debating how to find someone in the wilderness they want to show you. We're going to take a little break. We have a 5-minute break. You can stretch. You can use the Okay, welcome back from the break. Thanks very much. All right, so here you are. As you're traveling, bound underneath the night sky, the kobolds start chattering, and you see the flickering light of flames up ahead. There's a bonfire up ahead there. And you see the ruins of what looks like it was a big square tower made of red brick, but it's just foundations, a crumpled foundation. But on that brick floor by those sort of nubbly brick walls, you see sitting there, staring into the flames, a figure dressed entirely in red robes. He's got a sharp black beard and very pale skin. His hair is slicked down. His face isn't wrinkled, but it looks very old somehow as he gazes at you. Coming out of the bonfire he's staring into, you see a spiked black chain just kind of emerging from the fire and lying there. And you're sure that as you walked up, the chain twitched a little bit. But, beholden as you are to the kobolds, they start hustling you in close. They chatter, they move around him, they're very slow in front, they're facing him with a lot of seriousness. One of them talks to him in Draconic and he responds, and even though you understand only hear a little bit, but basically the kobolds are saying, they're pointing each of you at what you did in battle, about what spells you cast or weapons you used or how many kobolds you killed. And the man is sort of stroking his beard, looking at you with these dark eyes. He gestures to a pile of gold coins sitting there, and the kobolds bow and they take gold coins and spread them around. The kobolds then push each of you closer to the fire, uncomfortably close. You're in a circle, you and your group, around this fire, still manacled, and they've got these long pikes that are sitting there next to the fire and sort of holding you at bay. And the man, he looks at each of you. He has this sneer. He says, "Prove to me that you are not useless, and perhaps I will spare you some of the pain of this world. Who else have you ever seen wearing anything red like my robe?" So this is time for a different kind of hero. Who in your group has the best wisdom score? Wisdom +3, for example, is the highest wisdom. Yeah? Or +2, who has the highest wisdom score? You check the wisdom on those sheets. You soldier, you clerics, with the pink sheet, you'll discover you have a +3 in wisdom. You're heroic in that special way. You're wise, you're observant, you're very cool, collected. So, you hold up your sheet, hold up your die. If you have no cleric, no pink sheet, well, the noble fighter actually is fairly wise. If you have the yellow sheet, then you have a fairly high wisdom score. You're also good at perception. We'll describe that later on. You've always had a keen eye for fashion, so maybe you're a good one here. So if you don't have a cleric, then the yellow sheets go. If not that, then just whoever has the highest wisdom gets to go. Decide one of you, only one of you this time. Even if you're tied, well, if you're tied, you can collaborate. Okay, so if you're holding up your sheet, get a pencil ready. Everybody get a pencil ready with your sheet and just flip over to just a blank spot of the sheet. Just need room to write down a few little lines. So, you who I've just cited are the one writing it down, but the rest of the group can help you out as you do the following. Write down no more than 3 answers to the following question. You have to pick your favorite 3 things on the back of the sheet. In the story so far, write down times you saw someone wearing a red item of clothing. There have been 3 examples of this, and the man wearing the red robe in front of you doesn't count. He wants to know who else is wearing the red robes. You can get ideas from others. Write down the 3 best ideas. You have only 30 seconds. Fifteen seconds left. Okay, stop discussing. Stop there. If you are a cleric with +3, however, the pink sheet only if you're a cleric, you're extra wise and composed. Everybody else, the noble fighters, yellow sheet, you don't get more time, you don't get answers. Clerics only, you get another 10 seconds. If you're a cleric, to think quietly, you can change the answers or add to them. Just quietly, 10 more seconds. Just you silently, no more talking. This is just you and your God and your memory. 9, 8, 7, 6. You can cross something out, add something new. Okay, stop, pencils down. Again, only 3 answers maximum. Okay, the top 3 are the ones that count. Here are the answers. The corpse in the library was wearing a red silken lounging robe. Anything counts, like corpse in library, silk robe, corpse. You know if you got it right or not. Number 2 was the dwarf who was singing in the Falling Water Inn was wearing a red fur cloak. All the same shade of red. And the giant baby had a red sash around his chubby little waist. The exact same color of red as the one being worn in front of you. All right. Noble fighters, there we go. Okay, great. So, those answers. Make a check mark next to each correct answer. So I'm going to refer to how many check marks you have. 1, 2, 3, or 0 check marks will now be on your sheet. If you got at least 1 right out of those with a check mark, you are a winner. And here is what happens. The man in the red robes nods. He's interested in what you have to say. He gestures to the kobolds again. For each check mark that you have, each correct answer you got, the kobolds give you a little red berry. So if you get 1 check mark, you get 1 berry, 2 check marks, 2 berries, 3 or 3. Eating one of these berries gives you, or anybody else in the party, 1 hit point. And you can eat it now and decide, but by the time you're done, you have some berries left over. You can hand out berries to other people. You can give a berry to yourself. You can keep all 3 berries. You are the cleric. Healing is your job. You can eat all 3 yourself. You can give them to someone else. So write down amongst all of your sheets who gets the hit points and who gets the berries for either the 1, 2, or 3 berries. Again, 1 check mark, only 1 berry or 1 hit point should be remaining now. Only as many as you earned. But you can save the berries, So the cleric, clerics decide who get the berries. Once you get the berry, you decide whether to eat your berry or not. You can decide to keep your berry that you get given or eat it. Just make sure that it's done right one way or the other. No. Never mind, Alex. Okay. You don't really have a lot of time. What you're doing is you're kind of secretly slipping these to each other as you're getting gathered around, so I'm going to hurry you along because you don't have a lot of time to probably discuss this very much. Maybe you've had a few whispers to each other, debates like, no, I want the berry, no, I'm nearly dead. But you don't really get much of a chance. Often the Dungeon Master will hustle things along. Now, if you did not get any answers right, then that's not so good. Here's what happens to you. The man in the red robe sneers to those of you who didn't even know one of these answers correctly, and he says, useless. When our rule reigns supreme, you will be like sheep for us to use. The spiked black chain that was in the fire suddenly lashes out in a circle, and all of you get slashed and burned for 1 hit point of damage. So if none of the answers were correct, you all, clerics and everybody, lose 1 HP and no berries for you. Anybody 0 hit points just now? Whew, okay. All right. The man in red waves away the kobolds and you with a bored expression on his face. He keeps staring at the fire and you're led away. On you go. It's getting late at night. The march continues. You're manacled. The kobolds are, poking and you're starting to get very tired. It's at least the middle of the night as you go. But you hear the chatter of kobolds up ahead. They're very excited about something. You hear them say, crate, 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 if you understand the kobold language. They're pulling vines off of this overgrown thing. You've gone south far enough that the biome has changed. It's a little bit more jungly than before. And the crate is revealed. It's big, it's about this high. It's got sort of military look. It's bolted together. It's got a logo of a ram's head kind of spray painted on it, if there's such a thing as spray paint in this world. And in big block letters it says, Roscoe Ripper. Down at the bottom, Roscoe? The kobolds argue, they fight, they're pushing each other around. One of them pushes off the other, runs over and opens up the lid and looks inside eagerly. Boom! Fire shoots out of the top of the crate, and the kobold, now headless, falls back. And all the kobolds, woo, they all step back. And it's like fireworks are shooting up out of this thing, going up and then exploding in sparks. It just seems like this thing is completely up in flames. As these sparks come floating down like snowflakes, it lands on a kobold. Ah! The kobold has to put it out, is taking damage, gets a light, is falling down all around you, but you're a little bit faster. Everybody runs and you hide under a big tree. Small trees are starting to burn down right away, but you find a big tree to hide under, but it's really not that large. The fireworks, they're coming and coming out of that chest, now at a distance, and the tree is now catching on fire, and you are not going to be able to last here much longer. There's nowhere to run from these falling sparks. One of you needs to run out and close that crate. So it's time for a hero. Who is best in your party to do this trick, who has a dexterity saving throw of +5? There's a little box next to the big numbers. It says saving throws. So it's not the big numbers, this is little numbers. And one of you has a +5. You can see it's the rogue with the blue sheet. You have a +5 dexterity saving throw. Very good. And you'll still be rolling a die, not yet, but this still involves rolling a die. Okay. The saving throw is what you use to avoid things that are done to you. It's like it kind of happens automatically at a moment. And on your sheet, you can see dexterity save. Again, look for the +5. You've got the blue sheet. You've identified it. If you don't have a rogue, who else has got equally high one? So you, with the dexterity of +3, you folk hero fighters with the green sheet. If there's no rogue, you're the one that has the highest saving throw in dexterity. Okay, so you've got to die. Again, if two of you, just like always, have the same exact number, you both roll because both of you are going to try to run out and do this trick, and only one of you needs to succeed. You heroes who are ready to go out, you run out, dodging those flames, dodging the falling fire, trying to survive long enough to get to the crate. All of you who are holding up your die, roll it now. And add your dexterity save. So you add your number for dexterity. Higher is always better. What's your total? Now, this is the hardest thing yet. So in order to get out of trouble, your total needs to be 14 or higher. If you got a 14 or higher, you did the roll and you are a winner. Your whole party is a winner. Either one succeeds. If your party is a winner, yell on 3, yell, hell yeah, 1, 2, 3. All right. So you winners, the ones who are running, run, dodge, each spark that falls down. You jump over a burning log. You tuck your legs underneath and look really cool. A rocket fires out. You flatten yourself on the ground and roll forward. You got manacles. This is pretty tough to do. You're looking very good. You roll those last few meters. You kick up at the lid that's hanging open, and bam, the lid falls shut again, and the fire stops. Okay, you're saved. Your friends come out to make sure you're okay. The kobolds are all coming out, making sure you don't run away. Just as you look around, while the kobolds are all sort of organizing, you see a lot of hot copper springs all over the ground. They were probably part of these fireworks. You can pick them up. The kobolds can't see you do this, so each of you in a party with a winner gets to write in the treasure area, copper spring 10 CP. I don't have a slide for it. Just again, down where you wrote the other things with your coins and stuff, copper spring, and then brackets 10 CP. It's worth 10 copper pieces. Again, it's worth that much. But you never know when a spring will come in handy. If your party did not have a winner, all of you say, oh shit, on 3, please. 1, 2, 3. Well, this is what happens to a lot of you, apparently. Your hero tries their best. They dodge, they jump, but a spark falls on them. They scream, they start trying to put it out. They brush it off, another one falls on them. They scream more, and they run back to the tree. I mean, they're going to die. So this is all going wrong. The tree is now fully alight, so you all have to just run away as best you can. And as you do so, all of you get a little bit burned by the falling sparks. You all lose 1 hit point, and no treasure for you. Raise your hand if you're at 0 hit points. Maybe those berries helped those of you who are very weak. Okay. I have something for you if you're at 0. You can raise your hand, but no. Okay, good. All right. So the march continues. You almost swear it must be almost dawn by now. Like the sky is starting to lighten in the east. And you emerge from this sort of jungly forest, and you're in like a burned forest. All of a sudden, like a line is ash on the ground that's still kind of crunchy and fresh and smells like burn. The trees are just these sort of skeletons, a little bit of smoke rising, but it's just as far as you can see. There's these gentle hills going a little bit downhill as you're going sort of southward. Rain breaks out over you, and this is acidic rain. It must be all the ash. It's just, so you start, coughing. You all have to scramble and find shelter, but there's no trees. You find a cobblestone foundation of a long since burned down house. It's got a charred trap door in the middle of that foundation, so you all pry it open, and down you all go, you and the kobolds, into a cellar. The kobolds are gleeful as it shuts, so you're all glad to be out. Kobolds can see very well in the dark, so they notice it before you because they're making that excited chattering noise again. As your eyes adjust, you can see there's a big treasure chest there, and they want to open it. It's like, oh no, kobolds, please don't! But they're excited. You can't stop kobolds from treasure. They're greed. And they're wrestling, and they're about to pull it open, but just before they do, you go, ah! One of them reaches into her pocket. She shows off these little thief tools. Huh? The other one says, So she kneels down in front of the lock, and she's going to carefully pick the lock on this chest to avoid something bad happening. She fiddles with it. There's tension, excitement, and there's a click, and the lock pops open. And then the bam, 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 the 4 walls of the chest fall away, and it just reveals this glass box inside. And rising up in that glass box is a cloud of dark moving shapes. A terrible buzz fills your ears. Oh my God, it's bees! Bees in the box are filling that box. And that's the last thing that you see because most of you are overwhelmed by this terrible sensation as you fall asleep. Magic spell. The kobolds, you all fall asleep into dreamland. And we'll sort out in a minute who stays awake. Whoever stays awake will see on the front of the chest is an arcane logic puzzle that wizards are fond of. Ideas, only other intelligent wizards are supposed to be able to get into this chest without getting damaged. So, some of you will be able to solve this, but all of you can enjoy this bit here. Here's an easy version of the puzzle. So you push one of the tiles at the bottom. So these 6 choices, A through F, that's a button that you push that is what the correct answer is. You figure out the pattern of what you should push by looking in each row left to right. So the top, middle, and bottom row are each an example, but they follow the same rule. Which letter completes that bottom row using the same logic as each of the rows above it? So if you get that yet, this is an easier one. In this one, the rule is the little black box, it just moves from left to right through the row that it's in. It moves along a row. So the top row, on the top row, it's in the upper corner, it moves along the top row of the little box, moves from left to right. Okay, the middle row, same idea, but now the little black box in the middle, but moves across the middle row. And the bottom one is moving across the bottom row, so therefore, by that same logic, the answer is? Yes, A. The little black box is following that rule. This is what wizards are really good at, Harry. This is a little bit tougher. So which one is right? It'll be timed. I'll explain the label. I'll challenge you to try to get it right. Okay, maybe you have an idea. The answer is F. The block is sort of sliding along the line, you see. So it starts at one end and slides to the other. Even though the line is tilted a different way, the same rule follows as it slides along. Only F is the line tilt staying the same on that bottom row, so it's the up-down line, and the block slides down to the opposite end. F shows the block at the end of that one. Okay, now it is time for another hero's chance to shine. Now, who in your party is awake to even do this? Who is an elf? Ah, the top of your sheet. You wizards, yes, you are elves, you purple wizards. Are you an elf? Yes, you're an elf. You're a hero because elves are immune to magical sleep. Very nice, very handy, yes. Elves cannot be subject to this kind of spell, so you have got your sheet and your pencil ready because you're going to solve this puzzle because you're the only one awake. If both of you are elves, if you've got two elves, both of you get to get your pencils ready. If you do not have an elf, oh, come on, everybody needs an elf. Why don't you have an elf? Okay, you have no elf. Find who has the highest intelligence bonus. The highest intelligence bonus in this group. The elf wizards are smart, they have a +3, but maybe some of you have a +1? Above average intelligence? Yeah, you rogues with blue sheets. Yeah, you're a little smart. Yeah, that's good. You need to stay smart when you're on the streets, right? So you stay awake, but barely stay awake. All right, so this is going to be a little bit harder for you, but you still will get a chance. All right. Those of you who have the sheets, just get ready with the pencil. So rogues or wizards, but if you got wizards, then the rogue doesn't do anything. Okay, you are ready with the sheet. Flip it over, get ready to write this answer. Everyone except the elven wizards fall asleep, so all of you except for elven wizards, including you rogues, close your eyes and snore, dream. Everybody for real, close your eyes. Rogues, you too. Okay, elves, you didn't fall asleep. You're looking at this glass box full of bees. It's getting louder. It's rattling. It's going to break. Cracks are appearing. You see that puzzle. You need to push one of the tiles. And you elves only should be looking at this. Here it is. And I'm giving a timer. Don't say it. Just write your sheet. Rogues, you fight off the sleep and wake up. Rogues only, open your eyes. Write down the correct answer. Elves, you can keep deciding. Buzz, the box is opening soon. 3, 2, 1, stop. Pencils down. Everybody pencils down. Everybody open your eyes. Those of you who are puzzle solvers, but we're not a rogue, maybe you're going to figure it out before I say the answer is D. The answer is D. This is a tricky one, but the same rules followed. Here, the box is moving clockwise from cell to cell, while the dot stays the same. So the top one, you see the box is moving clockwise, while the box stays the same, down, then to the left. The middle row, same rule. The dot is in a different spot, but the box moves down and to the left. The third row, therefore, the dot is in the lower right. It's going to stay there. The box moves down and then moves over. There's only one that has the box where it's supposed to be, which is to the left, and the dot where it always was, which is right there. That's why the answer is D. If your party has a winner, yell hell yeah on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, all right. Don't worry, if you didn't get it right, you don't have to yell, oh shit. You can just be very quiet now. I won't expose you. You furrow your brow, and you look at the puzzle. Everyone else is asleep as this happens. The buzzing gets very loud. The glass is cracking. There's just a few seconds left, and you push the correct tile. The bees all fall to the bottom and fall asleep. They're snoring. Everyone else is starting to wake up. The spell is over. The top of the glass box opens, and in it, you see there's treasure, very fancy silver coins. So if you are a winner, everybody in that party gets to write in the treasure area a 3 next to the SP for silver pieces. So that CP was at the top. So of those, I don't have a slide for it. So there's a very faint SP, but there's a row of 5 boxes. One has CP, the next was SP, or just write 3 SP. If you can't find his, write 3 SP, silver pieces. If you don't have a winner, You do the best you can. You pick the wrong tile, maybe you can't decide in time. The crate shatters. The bees swarm out, and they sting everyone. Everybody in the party lose 1 hit point of damage. You are stung by bees. But the kobolds do too. That's all right. And it woke you up. Hey, that's not bad. You all run out of the stairs. Ah, bees! And you run out and out into the rain, shut the trap door. Luckily, the rain has stopped, but you've got some bad stings. Raise your hand if you're at 0 hit points. Anybody at 0 hit points? Okay, clinging on, but ooh, this is wearing you down. All right. The burned forest drops away, and you see in front of you a jagged canyon. This canyon is, as you look to the south, you're looking off to the east, and the canyon stops here, but it goes off that way, and it's pretty much a straight line through. Off the east, you see that the ground stops being flat. It's this weird humped ground off that distance, which you didn't see before. What's up with that? It's not natural. It's like stretchy. The edge of the canyon, you're looking down, you can see down, there's caves in all the walls of this canyon you're peering down into, and there's many different kinds of monsters everywhere in this place. There's a marching row of goblins. Goblins. Again, creatures that are only this tall, but very heavily armored, much more dangerous looking than kobolds, and especially there's some that are as tall as you with the same features. They're carrying banners. They're coming out of one of the caves, and they're forming lines and moving to the north. Wait a minute, military gear, banners, moving to the north? Yeah, this is maybe the source of those raids that you heard are happening in the farm days to the north. Why the hell are the goblins going that way? You look elsewhere because you're getting closer to this edge as the kobolds are prodding you along. You see these large creatures. You know what orcs look like. I don't have a picture here, but we'll get to those later. But they are very dangerous. But they're all wearing just kind of like some wearing blue and some wearing red sort of loincloths, and they're on different sides and they're sort of on a flat piece of ground. They're clashing and wrestling with each other, and there's something in the middle they're all fighting over. It's a stuffed pig. Like, what the fuck? The kobolds want you to go down the steep slope. So there's bushes lining this whole thing, so you're dodging and creeping around at the kobold's instructions through these bushes till you reach the bottom of this chasm, and there's one particular cave. There's a cave at the bottom there that many more kobolds come out of, but they look different. These are new-looking kobolds. Their skin is sort of a splotchy gray. Your captors, the one who's caught you, their skin is much smoother with very, very light gray but snowy sort of looking patches on their upper surfaces. So the snowy kobolds who have been your captors, they exchange money and exchange coins. They're getting paid by this new set of kobolds with the splotchy skin. And the snowy kobolds, your captors, they start marching north, very happy with themselves, and that crate, that orrery, is left behind with you. The splotchy kobolds, again, you're still just as helpless. There's even more of them. They put bags over your heads now. There's a click with like a collar of some sort, so you can't even see now, an iron collar around your throat. You are bumped and prodded, bumping against walls, all of you together, through a narrow cave. It twists and turns a bit, and the echoes tell you it's very tight in here. You pass through, there's an opening on one side, and it's got like the sounds of machinery, like a sparking and clanging sound. It's echoey. It must be a big room over there. And you hear a scream. It's like a scream by a human voice. And it's far off and crazed voice saying, I see it! I see the shard! Behind the rocks, I see it, let me get it, let me get the shard, and crash, 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 you hear the smashing of metal against rock. You keep going. You're shoved together into this small space, and you sort of touch what feels like brick on the other wall. There's a clang behind you all, and the kobold chatter starts getting quieter, but you turn around, you feel iron bars, you realize that you're in jail cells. And as you realize there's no escape, you still hear the screaming from down the hallway. And that is where we'll stop for now. That is where we stop. Okay, that's it. Well, hopefully you're keen to see what happens next in this story. So let's see what happens next. All right. So this is going to be a real D&D session. You get around a table like I explained, and we'll start with a larger group, 8 maybe, we'll be able to fit around the table, and it'll boil down. Some of you will get the idea, and they'll move off to other D&D events, or you just realize you don't like D&D. I understand. But eventually you'll be around a table week after week, fortnight after fortnight. You'll get to a group probably 4 or 5 after a while. I will be your DM, you are players, and it's much different from this in a few key ways. There's much more autonomy and choice. This necessarily had to sort of shuttle you through some choices, but it really widens out where you basically vote, and I have to roll with, again, your choices I can't control. I have to roll with them. Infinite options of what to do eventually as you wander through this world. And, D&D gets very wide. So come again and again every 2 weeks. You continue this story. You still stay the same character. You usually stay the same character. You gain levels, you get more powerful, you get more loot, and you get more abilities as you go. So you have a great story to tell you. I do want to say there's many kinds of RPGs. This is too much math, too much combat, too many rules. D&D is quite heavy in this way. A lot of rules and mechanics. That's my personal favorite. I've been playing it since I was the Stranger Things kids, the kids in Stranger Things. I was literally that age at that time. So I've been playing D&D and I'm used to it. But some RPGs are much more rules light. They have more story, more improv. The story moves faster and it's much more about, keeping things going. Those are also great. I do meetups that get people together for all different kinds of RPGs, not just D&D to learn. If you're an experienced D&D player, as you'll see, my sessions are for absolute beginners and they have priority, but I still have events where if you like D&D or if you feel like, I got this, I want to go into an intermediate group right away, come to my events and you'll see those in Meetup. If you're advanced, that's great. Beginners, however, please come to my next event. This is going to be around a table every fortnight with me. It's at a place nearby here, not literally here, but it's nearby. It's just a 10-minute walk from the station. There's street parking. And it starts in 2 weeks. Actually, one of them is a little bit less than 2 weeks. One group is on Tuesdays, and another group is on Thursdays. So the Tuesday one is just in 12 days. So the details are on this slide. So if you go to thetinyurl.com/learndd or the QR code on the front of your sheet says play D&D with me, you will be able to see the meetup group, which hopefully you've found already. It has different groups that explain what to do. Come to one of those two. This is for absolute beginners, and that is you. Again, I go very slow, as you can tell. It does speed up over time, but you thought, this is too slow. Don't worry, it will get faster, and you're helping out other people. But soon, within a few sessions, you'll have a good idea of how to play DM with any place in the world, and after several sessions, if you keep sticking with it, you'll really be ready. Keep the character sheet, that's yours. You start using the next pages. As I said before, as you flip the pages, you'll see it's the same character, just with more information revealed. And the next time, you'll be on the back side of that front sheet, but you can start transferring your items and stuff over, because you'll be the same hit points, same items, all that stuff. You can make a whole new character. I'm just not going to get into that right now, but some people love that. We'll do an event very soon that shows you how to make a whole new character from scratch. Again, you'll be in a workshop. It's optional. Most people stick with the characters you've got. You can change characters later anytime. But it's also really fun and easy to become someone completely new. Please donate. Over there as you exit, there's a hat with coins, but I also have a chip reader where as you line up, and I'll go through as fast as possible, I love to take donations because this is a great way to support what we're doing right here. We're a nonprofit organization. Nobody here gets paid. Thank you very much, volunteers. You get a free character token, those little plastic tokens. They represent you on the battlefield. So if you donate $5 or more, you get a little chip. That matches your class. You move them around on the game table as you explore and fight. They're fun to have. And thank you, Scott at SideQuest, for giving those to us for the donation. You can buy a whole pack of them, but these are special colors that you can't get ordinarily. Please fill out your feedback form. Those of you who don't have a feedback form, please get one from the table, but I really count on that. I'm a game designer by heart, so objective feedback really matters to me. It's anonymous, of course. Just drop that off the table, even leave it on the seat as you go. After I clean up here, I'm going to the bar, an arcade bar called Be Lucky. It's really just steps away. You'll get there in a couple of minutes. Come by to chat more with me, chat with each other, chat with some of our volunteers. They offer us a special drinks and games package, like arcade games and sort of games of skill. Details are on this slide. As you can see, you go to Macca's, just follow all the noise, stand in front of Macca's, turn your back on Macca's, and you'll see an alley. It's not a dark, dangerous alley. It's very brightly lit. It says Be Lucky and Sons. Just go down there. It'll take you only 2 minutes. Volunteers, please, some of you help point the way. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to Dungeons & Dragons. Again, I'm Matthew Ford. I'm the founder of Rolling Rogues. Please thank the Precinct for the use of this venue. Thank you very much. Thank our volunteers for helping make this happen. And that's it. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Hey, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed watching us teach Dungeons & Dragons to absolute beginners. Want to know more about how we do it? Then support our nonprofit mission. Unlock extensive how-to videos and use the Courage and Chaos method yourself by using free materials that we provide. You can get all that at the link that you see here. That is tinyurl.com/teachdd, or you can click that link in the description. Of course, please like, share, and subscribe. We're going to come out with these videos every 2 weeks in this series, so I will see you again soon.